I feel like it becomes problematic when you take what you've taken, and then once you become bored with that person, you no longer want them around.
Yes, yeah. But then do you owe anyone anything?
I think you owe commitment and loyalty.
Yes. And I was like, that's the thing. Always, never not loyal, ever.
But that'll depend on the person that you're with, because if you and I start dating and I say to you, I'm looking for somebody I could
start dating.
Do I want to date you? Oh. Welcome to
14-year-old boy.
Yeah. Welcome to Unattainable. Glad to have you with us and hope you continue to be a part of our family for the foreseeable future. And if so, please hit that subscribe button. You can watch and listen to our show on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and all the other platforms. We have a very special guest here today. Singer-songwriter. Extremely talented. How's it going?
Cute. Thank you for saying that. Good entrance.
It's just Elle, yes?
Ella. Yeah. Well, my last name's Rosa, like Ella Rosa, but
okay.
Yeah. You can call me whatever you want.
What do you want to be called? Ella Rosa or Ella?
No, call me Ella. That's weird if everyone calls me my first and last name.
But that's your middle name, no?
Yeah. How do you know that?
See, that's a shocked look.
Yeah. Yeah, this is my middle name.
That's
but I say that's my last name because that's what I go by.
That's hilarious because yesterday I had a guest on a podcast and I guessed that she was a Gemini. And she goes, how did you do that? You knew that already. I was like, I had no idea. It's going to take a minute. I can't just right off the bat say it.
Like witchy vibes.
Yeah, I gotta sort of like talk to you for a while and then see what sort of story comes out of you.
I feel like I don't know enough about that world to even like guess anyone's sign.
Oh, you're not into signs at all?
Not really, but I do have that co-star app. Like I
That's ironic.
I look at it because a lot of my friends are into it, so I look at it because they're always like, oh, this is the reason why you do things, you know?
So you just sort of hear their opinion on it, but you've never really looked at it yourself.
I really love when people are into it because it like makes me learn a bit more about it, but definitely not for me.
That's so weird.
Definitely not for me. I just love hearing about it because I like when people get passionate about crazy things, and to me that seems a bit crazy. No, I can't say that. I can't say that because it's not crazy, but I just think like it's not something that I would ever like align my life to. But I
or like base your life on.
Yeah, but I really respect people who do. Like I love it. A lot of my friends are into it.
I don't base my life on it, but I think it's additional information that's helpful.
Yes, exactly.
You know?
And like one of my best friends has a astrology podcast that I even listen to. So it's like I say I'm not into it, but then I'm still interested in like listening to stuff.
Yeah, that's a weird way of saying you're not into something. Yeah. I've got the app. I listen to the podcast.
It's like watching, you know, like really shitty TV and being obsessed with it and being like, I don't even like it, but you just watch it all the time. That vibe.
So, astrology, shitty TV.
No.
Same thing.
Help. No.
We're on a good start.
Everyone hates me.
That's funny.
But no.
Where are you from originally?
So I'm from Reading, England.
Where is it?
Big up Reading.
Reading?
Reading. Yeah. Okay. I think I said it weird just then. But it's like, do you know football teams at all?
Of course.
One of the worst ones.
Oh, I never heard of it.
Yes.
Yeah. That's why I didn't know what you were saying.
It was in the Premier League one time though.
Well, like 20 years ago?
It was actually recently, funnily enough.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it's where like Reading Festival is. Not many people know where it is, but I grew up in a little hamlet called Playhatch, which is like, a hamlet is basically like a village. And it was like 6 houses there, so really small. And then when I was 11, I moved to New York. And that was just like weirdest transition I think I've ever had. I was like 11, 12, and then like my first year was when I was like turning, 13, like being
11, 12 is when you moved to New York?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And then
you kept your accent.
Yeah, I would go back every summer. Like I was so homesick, like to the point where I was like really sad. And then I would go home a lot Every spring break, like every winter, every summer I could go, I would go. And my best friend in the whole wide world, Ali, is still there.
How far is Reading from Manchester?
Oh my God. What, 4 hours? Train?
It's pretty far.
Yeah, it's pretty far. Like, I've only been to Manchester once, and that was for like a work thing.
Is that a Reading accent? I don't think it is.
I don't know. I can't. It's a mid-Pacific accent, I would say.
Right.
Only because I've lived out here for a while. It's just it's a weird accent. I guess it's English American.
Well, it is English, but it's just not
Like
Reading.
fully, yeah.
Accent, yeah.
Reading's a bit more like, all right, mate. All
Right.
And I love that.
Interesting. Who's your favorite football team? Are you even into
Someone told
football?
me once that they didn't have. He was funny because this person was like really into football, and he was like, I don't like any football team because I'm just a football connoisseur. Anyway, obviously don't like that person anymore. And basically he was saying that if anyone likes Manchester, the football team, it's because they're really good. And everyone who says that they like Manchester is because they're the best team. So obviously you're going to like Manchester. So I'm going to go ahead and say I like Manchester because fuck that guy.
Do you like Manchester?
I'm not really a football girl. I like it's only banter over here. I like rugby a lot.
Uh-huh.
And I like tennis.
So since you like rugby, do you also like American rugby? I refuse to call it football, just so you know.
Oh.
I refuse to call it football.
I've never actually, just funny actually. I've never really, I've watched one game. I think I went to a Giants
game? Okay.
game, yeah. And it was fun. It was more the atmos I was into, like drinking beer and like having fun with friends. But yeah, the game itself, I'm not that into.
I mean, it's sort of the same thing as rugby. It's just
slow. It's very, very slow. And there's so many players.
Well, Americans love the slow process because they could insert a lot of ads in the middle.
Yes.
That's
money.
yeah, and make money off it.
Yeah.
Capitalism is.
Capitalism.
Woo! Interesting.
That's funny that you said that.
Why?
Just like, I've never even thought about it like that, but it's maybe that could actually be the reason why.
Oh yeah, the main reason why they call it football is because at the time, football was very popular, and so what they did was they sort of stole the name in order to bring a lot of revenue and also views to the new rugby.
Yeah.
Basically,
that's interesting. Wow.
They made up. So, yeah.
It's kind of weird to do
That's
that.
how it all.
But money making, right?
Yeah.
Gotta get that bag. Always.
Are you working on anything new, music-wise?
Yeah, I actually have a song coming out soon. Haven't actually made a date for it because I'm just like really wanting it to be like a good drop date. But I'm doing a video for that soon. And then, yeah, I have like all my songs are just being mixed right now. So they should be ready very, very, very soon.
What are the songs about? Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, interesting. They are about... I hate to say that it's about someone specifically because it is about someone specifically. And
Tell the truth.
Yeah, and I hate that there's a whole EP based on one person. But to be honest, it was such an easy thing to make for me because it just came. It was like quite. It just like everything was happening at once while I was making the music, so it kind of just came hand in hand. I'm not saying that it was easy and it was like whatever. It was actually hard emotionally to write it, but it was easier for me to,
as far as
I had a
writing
lot
is
of
concerned.
content. Yeah, I had a lot of content to talk about. So yeah, I'm excited to put that out, but we'll see how that goes.
So how long ago did that, I'm assuming you were in a relationship with someone.
Yeah.
How long ago did that end?
Only in January, so not that far.
Oh, pretty
far
recent.
Away. Yeah, like
how long were you guys together?
Like 3-4 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we knew each other for 4.5-ish. So yeah, it wasn't, and it was the best breakup I could have had ever. Like it was so easy, but it was just It's funny how I honestly think that whole thing happened so that I could write like this music. No joke.
Sure. I mean, we love to associate reasons to why things happen. So.
Yeah.
But Are you how old are you?
Find my ID card. Find my
I
driver's
mean,
license.
you look pretty young. You look like you could be like 21,
I'm
22.
16. I actually have no idea how old I am.
I asked somebody one time. She was like, "We don't talk about it."
Oh, really? I like that answer. My aunt, the minute that she turned, like, she told me when she turned, I think it was like 42 or something, she would say a year less every year. And I was like, I love that idea.
Start saying like 5.
Like, if I started doing that, I'd be probably like 15 now, you know?
That's funny. I'm trying to do some math and see where that gets us, but that's kind of hard to say because that's impossible to really know.
You don't have a reference point.
Right. Yeah, you could be 100 years old for all I know.
Exactly.
That's funny. How many relationships have you been in?
2.
Okay. And this was the longest?
Actually, no. My first one was the longest and the most painful. But
Maybe you are 100 years old.
Maybe I'm 1,000,000 years old. Maybe I'm a witch. No, basically that one was from high school, like maybe even middle school to college.
I don't count those. Well, yeah, I guess if they are long term, past 18, yeah.
Yeah, and I knew, I don't mean like we were in a relationship since I was 11, but like we knew each other since I moved to the States. And it was just weird. Like breaking up with him was like a weird situation. I just moved back to London and I seem to always get myself into long distance relationships. So
interesting.
Because I don't like to be with someone.
So the second one is also British?
Yes, he's British. The first one was from New York. Born and raised New York. What up?
You met the second one back home or in London?
Yeah.
And then you were here at the time when you guys were dating?
No, we were together for like 2 years. Oh God, I hate talking about this because it doesn't matter anymore. But we were together for two years in London, and then I moved here because I just needed to be here for my work. Sure. And working here for 2 years, and things just got really busy, and then I just broke it off. She's a cold stone killer.
So you broke it off because it just wasn't working for you?
It was just more like I don't have the capacity to convince someone to move across the world.
Oh, that's what you were trying to do?
Yeah. I wanted him to, but at the same time, like there were a lot of things going on that I was like, even if you did move here, I don't know if it would really work. And I was excited about other things and other people, to be honest, at that time. And
other people, other guys?
No, like other career things like that made me truly excited. Sure. More than having him in my life. But he's a really lovely man, boy, guy, like good person, and his family is incredible. I really miss his dog, honestly. But other than that,
that's the worst. That's literally the worst.
I mean, his dog was cool. He was a bit of like a sassy one, but his family were really sweet. We were like very compatible, but then also not at the same time. Our love languages were very, very different, which is the best realization to have, because it's not like you did something or someone went wrong in some way. It's just like, you're a good person and he thinks I'm a good person. It's just like not the right match. And it would have just been a life of misery, honestly, if we carried on.
That's an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
What's your love language?
I think all of them, but I would say definitely like gifts.
That's number 1.
No, it's cars and planes. No, mine is definitely touch. I need touch and words of affirmation.
Okay, so affection.
I'm a very physical person.
Okay.
And then like doing things and like just being like an active human being. But then not in my face. Like I'm very, very picky. I'm like, let me do my thing, you do your thing. But like when we're together, like, let's touch.
Okay.
You know?
Sure.
I'm a pretty simple girl, but like it's like
no girl is simple.
No, I mean simple in the way that like, give me this, give me that, I'll give you this.
Okay. Are you a giving person
Yeah.
by nature?
Yeah. But in the way that like I give in the way that I think someone's going to want to receive that love, you know? And sometimes you get it wrong, which I think I did in my old relationships.
Well, unless you talk to them about it and they tell you what they want.
Yeah. But then it's really hard to talk to someone about their love languages if they're not interested in knowing what theirs is.
Sure.
Or they're not interested in knowing anything of depth.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Personal growth is massive.
Yeah.
If you're not interested in it, then...
Yeah. If one person is and the other person isn't...
That's the hardest part.
You can't go further.
Yeah.
You cannot. There's no way. And I think, unfortunately, that happened in my old relationships. Like, there was both of them, in no disrespectful way, but they were very easily happy with just staying in one place and living, you know, in the same place for the rest of their life. Sure. And doing that. And I'm really jealous of people who like to do that, because I wish I could do that and not be super anxious and sad about that. Like, but that's just
you get bored easily.
You're very, very bored easily, and in the way that like it's not healthy at points. You know. Yeah. Do you get bored?
No.
The one thing, that's why music is it for me, because you can never get bored with music. You can do there's so much.
Well, I believe boredom is a state of mind.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that you could become bored while you have multiple different options of multiple different ways to make yourself not be bored. Mm-hmm. But then a lot of people end up still being bored regardless, because they're not really... It's more so that they don't know they can do something about it.
And that's, you know? I find that sometimes when I'm doing things, you know, when you have like a job that you just have to do for money, mm-hmm. for the day or whatever.
Sure.
And you could easily get bored by that, but the incentive of like, no, I have to get this done. It isn't. You're right. It's a mindset for sure, but especially with people and life things like love and emotions, I really try hard to let my body just like get bored when she wants to get bored, and then I move on, and like bigger and better kind of, but not bigger and better in the way that like not bigger in the sense that like I want someone more successful and bigger and cooler and da-da-da. I mean like who fulfills me emotionally, you know. And it's very selfish to say that, I think, but it's also good to be... I think this year is like me trying to be a bit more selfish emotionally, because like I said, I'm a very giving person to my friends and my family and stuff, but I try to give them as much time and energy as possible, and it's like I want to have the same given to me.
Sure, but I feel like it becomes problematic when you take what you've taken, and then once you become bored with that person, you no longer want them around.
Yes, yeah. But then do you owe anyone anything?
I think you owe commitment and loyalty.
Yes. And I was like, that's the thing. Always, never not loyal, ever.
But that'll depend on the person that you're with, because if you and I start dating and I say to you, I'm looking for somebody I could
start dating.
Do I want to date you? Oh. Sure.
That was weird of me.
I think if you and I started dating and I said to you, okay, I want to be with you for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm looking for a partner for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. I want to find somebody that I want to marry.
Yeah.
Right. And you said to me, oh, I could see that be the case.
Yeah, that's
right? That's just dishonest.
I would never. I don't think. Well, to be honest, though, like I've genuinely like fully convinced myself sometimes that, like, for instance, with both of my exes, for example, in my head when we were together, I was like, I can see myself with these people. Like, I can truly see myself getting married, having kids, doing all that with those people because I love them. But then the minute I stepped out of it and I kind of was falling out of love, I realized that, like, while I did say those things, and it probably wasn't right to say those things, I didn't have the perspective of the future, you know? I didn't have hindsight.
See, people say that a lot. I'm writing a book about unconscious dishonesty is what I call it.
Yes.
And the concept revolves around the fact that people lie to themselves more so than anything else, and as a result lie to others. And at the time they don't particularly know they're lying, but they're just unself-aware.
For sure. And I don't but that's all well and good, but how do you get around that? You can't fortune tell.
You cannot. However, you could avoid getting into relationships until you are self-aware enough to know what you want.
Yes. And that's why the you know what's so fun? That's really interesting that you said that, because both of those two relationships, very long-term, serious relationships, at the beginning, I was very resistant. Like I was very much of the mindset of like, let's just stay friends. Like, let's just have each other in each other's lives. Like, we don't need to commit to each other, because I knew it wasn't like, oh, I want to still fuck around with other people. Can I swear?
Yeah.
Okay. It wasn't because I wanted to like have a good time with other people, or like I wanted to give myself to other people. It was the fact that like I really wasn't ready to sit down and be with someone for real, and they weren't happy with that answer. And I go in circles about this all the time in my head. Like, they were never happy with that, so I just kind of like gave in and was like, fine, like we'll just be together, and I'll just be yours for right now. And then it always gets to the point where I'm like, damn, I should never have done that, and now it's just hurting both of us, me and you, because I'm like involved with this person, I love this person, but it's not fulfilling me. But yeah, whoa, therapy we're having right now.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept, because when you talk about relationships, a lot of people go into relationships because they don't want to be alone. You know?
Yeah.
Some people go into relationships because, like you said, you're sort of being convinced that hey, it'll work.
Yeah.
You know? And
I get that. And I have never been of the mindset that like I'm cannot be alone. Like, I do not want to be alone, because I do like genuinely like being alone. Hence why I get into long distance relationships, because half the time I'm by myself, or like doing my own thing. But I just I can't see, especially with the career that I have, like the career path that I'm trying to take, like I don't know if having a relationship is ever going to happen, a really real one. You know? Yeah. Unless that person is really engrossed into my life and just really fits. Yeah. But that's love, I guess.
Have you fallen in love?
I fall in love with everyone. I love everyone.
Do you know what falling in love is?
Probably not.
Yeah.
And yeah, I have no fucking clue. I have no idea. But I think that when I was with these two people, I was excited and really, I felt like I was in love. But maybe I know for sure, and I've come to the conclusion that my previous most recent relationship was not love.
Affection, attraction.
It was affection. Yeah, I was very scared. I was moving to LA. I was just starting, like, we met when I just started uni. I was just trying to start my music career, like, just scared. I was very, very scared of a lot of things, and I had not much consistency, and I really needed someone to be there to tell me I was doing a good job.
Yeah. See, there's just like so much going on when you think about, especially like you said, when you have perspective, and you know, in hindsight, everything sort of has a reason and explanation.
Yeah.
But we do end up hurting a lot of people in the way. You know. And
that's why I think I'm a bit avoidant now, even with friends at this point. Like, I try to keep my distance from a lot of new people, because I feel like with anyone, it takes you kind of have to give them like a user manual, you know, like this is not gonna be that fun for you, you know, because I expect a lot from my friends, and I think it's hard to be friends with someone who doesn't give that much back, but then when they're available wants all this love and affection, you know. Yeah, it's not fair.
You're very career driven.
All day, every day. It's the only thing that really makes me excited and happy.
Interesting.
Gives me like, it makes me feel like I'm doing good things.
Interesting.
What are you writing? You're writing like
your sign.
Oh, I'm excited.
When's your birthday?
On 3? Should we say what you think I am?
No. I want you to tell me your birthday, and then I'll show you if I have it right or not.
Okay. Gemini. Oh, June. Did you think?
That's funny.
What did you think?
Well,
Liar. Did you really think Gemini? Or did you just
it was
write
between-
each sign on each page?
no, there's only one.
What the
Yeah.
heckington?
That's funny.
Why do you think? Because I'm crazy.
Well, it was between that and Capricorn.
Capricorn
You do have a
is-
lot of Capricorn in you.
I can show you my thing, but I think I have something. Capricorn is when? February?
No, December and January.
That was my ex. And I think that's my either rising or falling one. It's one of those.
It's got to be.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be a Capricorn in you.
What's that? Like hardworking, really cool, really fun, really
We're
nice.
career driven. Sort of like puts relationship on the second burner.
Do you put your relationship on the front? Someone's calling me. Do you put your relationship first always?
My relationship is everything to me.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Can we date?
Sure.
See, that's I always. Actually, no. I don't. I was gonna say I always go for someone whose like relationship is first. I don't, and I shouldn't do that because I want someone who's also second. Like relationship is second to them. Not in the sense that
What
they're
do you
gonna
mean?
treat me like shit, but I mean like in the sense that they understand that like our time together is like. How do I say? Like, it's not everything, you know? Not everything's life or death. I just don't want a relationship with pressure.
But that's two different things,
Yeah.
though. You're talking about maturity.
Yeah.
That's a completely different thing than desire, right?
You're right.
Especially because if I thought to myself that I'm looking for something permanent, like I'm a type of person that like the biggest fear of my life, I'm not afraid of shit. My biggest fear is ending up alone. Ending up alone is just terrifying to me.
Really?
Yeah.
You're not going to end up alone.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
But the point is that it, not just that, but like also hurt and pain. Because people...
Emotional, yeah.
Yeah. Although physical is just...
Because he's a...
I've dislocated my shoulder 3 times, had surgery twice. I've torn my meniscus. I've broken fingers. Yeah.
Broke all
I've
your
done it all.
fingers.
Not all of them. No.
How'd you do that?
I used to play football. Fuck. I used to play football. I used to be a goalkeeper.
Oh, yeah. Ugh. Ooh, that makes me feel sick.
I almost broke my neck.
Oh, my
I
God.
went up to catch the ball. I got hit. I landed on my neck backwards on the ground.
Landed on your neck back.
So like my head hit the ground while I was going down this way.
Oh, and it was like...
And my neck was like...
that noise.
Yeah.
That's horrible. No, I agree with you, and that's why I think I'm just young and naive in the way that like I don't want to ever have hurt and pain. So I'm just like, I'm just never gonna have anything that will have that be the result, you know. So I just try not to get into relationships. Just
Avoidant.
It's easier for me
Yeah.
because once I get into it with someone, I'm very much like. I just love this crap out of people. Like I literally like look at some people and I'm like, I just love you, you know.
But it's ironic because when you say that and then you're like, oh, but I want my space as well.
I know because
Right.
I'm fighting like my natural instincts because I want to
be
succeed.
attaching yourself to the person.
Yes. Yeah. Because ultimately, I never want to have the underhand. I always want to be I want to have the ball in my court. Because I know what it feels like to have the upper hand, and sometimes you don't care that much when you have the upper hand, you know.
Yeah. And it's one of those things, though, I think once you realize that the only way you could get past that is by giving up your ego.
That's what it is. I know that's what it is because I think it's an insecurity thing. It's not so much like I don't give a fuck. It's actually like I give so much of a fuck that I'm just like I can't let myself get into something that is so heavily giving a fuck, you know.
Yeah, because the pain of heartbreak is just destructive.
Yeah, and I have like depression in my blood. I don't even know, like in my I'm susceptible to getting depressed, so that is not something I want to go into, because then it would slow down everything. Just work for me.
That's very interesting to me.
Yeah,
it's very interesting because you've never experienced love the way that you describe as destructive in your mind.
Yes, it's all, and the thing is that all my relationships have been so amazing, really beautiful relationship. Nothing has really ever gone wrong.
Is it because you've tried to control them?
Yes. Thanks, Dad, for making me controlling. Can't give up anything.
You think you're controlling?
I'm the most controlling person. Like, I actually fully get anxious when someone's like, oh, I think I'm going to do like this instead of that. I'm like, why are you going to do that? Like, I'm controlling. Wow. I'm a micromanager. And it's a really bad trait, and I've tried to get off of that habit. But I really do think it's like in my blood.
No.
No?
You can control being controlling.
Yeah. So I've done
that, so I could tell you it's doable.
Yeah. So I'm trying to do that. That's slowly coming along. But it's less like controlling and me just getting annoyed by how people handle things. And I'm like, I can't get annoyed by that because I'm not them. It's not something. Yeah. You
can't expect everybody to be as efficient as you are, or as efficient as you think I am. Perceived to be.
Yeah, I know.
So it's people do things differently.
And
whose
birthday was it?
One of my friends committed suicide, and we had like a memorial.
Here?
Yeah. For him.
Yeah. I'm really sorry. It sucks.
Yeah, he was a very good kid. So.
Kid? Like.
No, like.
Person.
Like a good guy. Yeah.
See, that kind of stuff makes me feel horrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some dark shit right there.
Yeah. And it's I think it makes you think about life and what life is, and if there's any meaning to it. You know, why do we even live to begin with? What's the point?
Yeah, I think we're all just like ants, though. You know, everyone, like, we all have different intentions or whatever, but I think most of the time we're all just working to not work, you know?
Working to not work.
Like, everyone works for the weekend. Most people work for the weekend.
Oh, most people do, yeah.
Yeah. I work so that I can, and you probably do the same, you work so you can do your passion work, you know? You can do the work that makes you feel good.
No, I decided. So here's what happened was, I think pre-pandemic that were true to a certain extent. I haven't particularly always done things because I had to. I most of the time tend to do things because I want to. But one thing that I promised myself was that I'm never going to be a slave for the sake of making money.
That's quite privileged,
for the sake of living.
Though. Yeah, but that's a privileged way of living.
Of course, absolutely. But I think everybody's capable of it. A lot of people tell themselves that they're not, and that's the difference. Mm-hmm. And I think that what I decided to myself was that I'm going to focus on what makes me happy, because what makes me happy is what I want to do. Mm-hmm. And whether it's like doing this podcast or life coaching or music or whatever it is that I decide to do, mm-hmm. I'm going to do it because I want to do it. And sometimes obviously not everybody has the means to get to that point. So you have to work hard at something in order to get to that point. Mm-hmm. And that's understandable, but I think there needs to be a goal for every person to go based off.
Yeah.
You know? A lot of people are purposeless, and that's mostly the issue. Mm-hmm.
there was a lot of, again, back to the relationships, but a lot of those two guys, and a lot of, they weren't purposeless, that's so disrespectful to say. They were more just like passionate, but they didn't know what to be passionate about.
Sure.
You know, like they were really good at doing things, but didn't know what to do.
Also, the younger you are, it's harder to figure yourself out. So it's understandable, especially if you were with somebody like during your college years or, you know.
Yeah, I
high
mean, the
school,
guy
whatever.
the most recent one he was 10 years older than me, so he was
In
old
his
as
30s.
hell. Who knows?
I know.
Fucking, yeah, he was 35, yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
now
so,
he's 35.
Okay. Yeah, and that I mean, for the most part, I believe it's ideal if you figured out what you want to do by the time you're 35, you know.
Agreed, yeah.
If you haven't, TikTok.
I think a lot of people TikTok, I like that. A lot of people go into the whole like school, uni, corporate job, done, you know.
Sure.
And that's what he did, and then he was like, I don't really want to do that anymore. And so it was very behind, you know.
Sure. Well, I was talking to my aunt about this a while ago. She was like, what are you doing these days? And this is like a couple of years ago, before pandemic. And I was like talking to her about like the stuff that I was doing at the time, and she goes, oh, that's great, like, you know, keep it up, blah blah blah. And I was like, yeah, I truly don't believe that we're meant to have just one career for the rest of our lives. That's like an insane concept to me.
Yeah, and like that's a good point, because while I say I want to do like music as a whole, I just want to be involved in, but like maybe at some point I want to become like a composer, or like like different assets of music, probably like I would want to get more involved in. But yeah, I don't think doing one specific thing for the rest of your life is healthy.
Not just that, it's just not fulfilling.
Yeah.
You know, and you sort of get into the mood of like repeating the same thing over and over again, and it becomes so redundant and just so I've always had this thing in my mind where I would like start something and then be like, okay, I'm going to give it like a 10 years period of time to, you know, make it work, make it grow, get it to where I want it to get to, and then start a new thing, you know, wherever it is at that point. So like I had this, like my short-term goal was I wanted to get my like the skydiving license. You know, I wanted to go back to school and like finish getting my life coaching degree, and then so I did that during the pandemic, and then it was getting my skydiving license. I got that, so I still get my C license. There's like 3 licenses, A and B. I'm getting my B tomorrow, and then I got to get my C by the end of the year, because that's how long it takes.
You just have to jump from, what do you have to do for it?
So the A license is 25 jumps, and then the B license is 50 jumps, and then the C license is 200 jumps.
That's a big jump from That's a
from
big
B to C.
Yeah.
Yeah. So C requires just a lot more experience in that way, but also I want to do wingsuiting.
Yes,
So
like the
that's-
squirrel suit vibe.
yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That's what the C license requires.
Okay, cool. I want to go skydiving.
You should come tomorrow.
I would
Seven of my friends are going, actually.
I would actually love that. What time?
So they're leaving. I'm leaving at 7,
Okay.
and then they're leaving at 9.
What time
So-
do you usually finish?
I'm usually there all day because I jump like 5 or 6 times a day, but they're gonna jump just like around 11 and 12, and then they'll get back by like 1 or 2.
Okay, I have a session tomorrow, but next time you go,
Cool.
seriously, I'm actually down.
Okay.
Can I like bring friends?
Yeah.
I'm so down. That sounds so fun.
I'll add you. We have like a group chat. I'll add you in there,
Okay, yeah.
and you can, you know.
Skydiving group chat. That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
There's a bunch of people. I've already taken like 4 of my friends.
I'm so down. That's a good date.
Yeah.
You should do that. That's fun.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun, but yeah. So that's my 2021, goal.
That's a
Obviously,
really
amongst other
interesting goal.
things. Yeah.
I like
Well,
that.
those are like hobby. I have like hobby goals, and then I have
Mhm.
like career goals, and then you know, a bunch of different ones.
And you got this cool podcast.
Yeah. This is a long-term goal for
Yeah.
sure. And then I would be able to fly a jet in the next like 10 years. That's what I want to be
Fly
able
a jet,
to do.
buy a jet, be a jet.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's like, why so many licenses?
Well, they require licenses. If I could do it without license, I would.
You just want to be able to do a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the thing, because I that's like when you talk about boredom, right? There's so much to do in life. So much to do. It is insane when somebody says to me, like, oh, I'm just sitting there like watching TV. I don't know what else to do. I don't even understand it.
Yeah.
Because you could literally get out of the house and do whatever you want.
Anything, yeah. Don't have a TV, but yeah.
And it's one of those things where now technology is so advanced where you have literally access within minutes to finding whatever it is you want to do. And you could get to wherever you want to get to fairly quickly.
Like super easy, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I want to do the skydiving thing. I want to do the bungee jumping thing. I want to do that all, but like, then again, I'm like, I have other things that I need to do.
Like what?
Music-y things.
You know, it's so, and this is by no means as an advice, just sort of a history lesson, I suppose. I burnt myself in my 20s doing music. I was very focused on it in my early 20s and just like pushing, trying to like do this, trying to do that, multiple different projects, blah, blah, blah. And as you already know, music is very kind of touch and go. It's one of those things where you don't really have a say into what happens. You know, it either will happen or it won't. It's just a lot of chance that goes into it, unless you have like millions of dollars backing you, and then also a crazy person who could, you know, capitalize off of drama that people seem to be very interested in these days. And then on top of the fact that, you know, given technology now is a lot more advanced, that it was like there was no TikTok at the time, you know, the Instagram wasn't as big. So point is, I ended up just like doing so much that I ended up burning myself and got to a point where I became less passionate about making music my priority. You know, I still love music, but it just wasn't, it was no longer the main thing that I wanted to accomplish.
Yeah.
You know, because to me it was like something that I kept pushing to do, and it like didn't quite get there. I did accomplish like the goals that, like the short-term goals that I had, but the long-term goal never really, you know, got to that point.
Yeah.
So, at this point in my life, it's more of a hobby. Like I would put out like a song maybe like once a year or something like that, or like, you know, twice a year, and that'll be that. But it also became to a point where my focus on how many views, how many likes, you know, became very toxic.
Ew, like you cared a lot about that?
Yeah. Or it became a part of like, okay, well, if people don't like this, maybe I'm not as talented, or maybe I'm not good enough, or maybe it's never going to work, you know? And once you start thinking that way, it sort of pushes you down a rabbit hole that it's sort of hard to get out of.
Yeah, it's not the vibe.
You know?
I think it's also about having people around you who give you some honest advice, you know? Luckily, I have some really, really good friends who say, like, that's shit, or that's really good, or, like, that's not gonna hit, and that one could probably hit. Like, I'm pretty confident in, and I go through that all the time. Like, I'm always, like, very self-doubty. Like, I go through multiple weeks of just being like, why am I even here? Like, freaking out about that. But there are a lot of people who keep me, you know, sane and knowing that, like, you're in this for a reason, and you're doing this because there's nothing else keeps you, you know.
I think the biggest thing for me was I have a very musical sound, and the people around me weren't really the right people to give me advice on the fact that they were trying to push me into mainstream, and that just wasn't my thing.
Nah.
You know, and that just never works when you try to do something like that with something that's completely not your
exactly
niche.
And I actually just got a phone call today from one of my producers, and we were talking about a song that we're working on together, and we just came to the conclusion that, like, his vibe was not of the vibe of the song that we made, and we were like, let's just start a new idea and just do something that like fits both of our situations. Like I think using that as an example, it's really easy to fall into the bad part of music when you're working with really high-end people. It doesn't matter how high-end they can be, but if they're not high-end in your genre or high-end in what you want to do, it's not going to do you much good.
Yeah, exactly. So going back to what I was pointing out, which was if you don't allow yourself to have fun with your life, chances are there's a possibility of you burning yourself. And the reason for burning yourself would be the one thing that you love the most, and that love is sort of going to start to fade away.
I really don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
I'm like dying for that not to happen. I don't see that ever happening because I've been doing it for so long now that I've never got bored of it, but something really awful would have to happen.
Yeah. And that's like I totally relate to what you're saying. Just, constantly, my 20s were a constant battle of like, I can't do anything fun for myself because I got to focus on this. Like, I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do this. Like, I have like all these thoughts in my mind, and I'm like, oh, I got to get this out. Like, this is what needs to happen right now. Like, nothing else matters type thing. My 20s, no friends.
Oh no.
Everything was just like constant work.
Yeah. It's like no fun. Yeah, see, that's what I try to incorporate my music to fun. Like when I go to the studio and I know I'm not gonna have to like write or I'm like not gonna have to track anything. Like we're just listening, or if like I'm only working for like an hour or a couple of hours. Like I always invite people, and like I try to make it like fun work. Try to keep it like light if I can.
That's good. As long as you're mindful of it, you'll be fine. You'll be good.
Yeah, I feel you there.
We're actually at the end of the segment, so we're good. We're chilling.
Okay, cool. Any other questions?
No, anything you want to share?
Follow me. That's all I got.
What's your Instagram again?
It's Ella Music. It's not Ella Music. It's Ella Music. And the amount of times I have to tell
clarify
people that, it's like that's my Instagram.
Well, I'll add it in the description as well.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thanks for watching.